Bachelorette Aaron Erb tried to warn Jenn Tran, says Told You So. Bachelorette alum Aaron Erb is having his moment of glory, so to speak, after Jenn Tran's finale aired Tuesday night. He received a lot of criticism during his short time on the show. It started when he presented a book to Devin Strader, which did not go over well. Then he told Jenn before leaving that not all of the men were there for the right reasons. However, he did not say who, which angered Jenn. He believed she was smart enough to figure it out. Nobody listened, and no Aaron is getting to say I told you so. Keep reading to find out more. Aaron Erb tried to warn Jenn Tran. Bachelorette alum Aaron Erb tried to warn Jenn Tran about the kind of person he believed Devin Strader to be. However, it was something he wanted her to figure out on her own. Now that the final has everyone talking, Aaron is also sharing his thoughts. Aaron went to TikTok and Instagram to share what he thinks about last night's finale of The Bachelorette. He captioned his Instagram post saying, "I hate to say I told you so, but apology accepted. Jenn, I genuinely feel so sorry things ended this way." Aaron's TikTok showed him lip-syncing to SpongeBob SquarePants. Along with the recorded parts, he wrote on the video saying, "Tried to warn everybody how bad this dude was when all I had to do was shut up and let him do it himself." As for the caption, he wrote, "I really tried to bite my tongue. Jenn, from all of us men, we're sorry, you truly deserved better." Of course, fans watched the heartbreaking final play out on television Tuesday night. At the final rose ceremony, Jenn proposed to Devin. The two reportedly left together and were engaged. However, things went south between them. He finally ended their relationship recently through a phone call, not even in person. Fans have not been happy with how Devin treated Jenn and feel that she deserved better. He made an attempt to make himself not look totally at fault by sharing text messages between him and Jenn. However, he quickly deleted them. Aaron Erb finally got his I told you so and had already admitted at the Men Tell All that he was talking about Devin, Sam, and Spencer as the men she needed to watch out for. What do you think about Aaron thinking he deserves an apology now? The desert air was still, save for the crackle of the campfire where Aaron Erb sat, arms crossed, his usually calm demeanor now frayed at the edges, his rugged jawline tensed as he gazed out into the endless horizon. The flickering flames danced in his eyes, but the fire in his chest was hotter. Across from him sat Jenn Tran, her head down, fingers absently picking at the frayed hem of her jacket. "I told you," Aaron finally said, breaking the silence that had stretched between them like a chasm all night. His voice was a quiet storm, filled with an undercurrent of frustration and something else, something raw. "I tried to warn you, Jenn." Jenn didn't respond at first. Her thoughts were scattered, the weight of the past few weeks pressing down on her shoulders. She had wanted to believe in something more, something romantic, like a dream out of one of those perfect Hollywood movies where love conquers all. But now, staring into the flames, she felt like she'd been chasing shadows. The glossy lights of the Bachelorette mansion, the carefully orchestrated dates, the whirlwind of emotions, it had all seemed so real. Until it wasn't. Aaron had been different from the start. He wasn't like the other guys, flashing veneers and over-the-top gestures. He was quiet, introspective. While others had been playing to the cameras, Aaron had pulled her aside one night, away from the blinding lights, and told her the truth. "This isn't real," he'd whispered, his green eyes searching hers. "These guys, they're not here for you. Not really." She hadn't wanted to believe him then. How could she when everything felt so magical? The idea that these men with their proclamations of love might be insincere, it was too much to bear. So she brushed Aaron's words aside, thinking he was jealous or worse, insecure. He had warned her about one in particular, Greg. Charming with a devil-may-care smile that could melt ice, Greg had swept her off her feet. But Aaron had seen through the facade. He had tried to tell her that Greg was playing a game, that his intentions were far from genuine. Now, as the truth lay heavy between them, Jenn felt the sting of realization. "I didn't want to believe you," Jenn finally whispered, her voice barely audible over the crackling fire. I thought I knew what I was doing." Aaron shook his head, his frustration palpable. "You wanted the fairy tale, Jenn, we all did. But this?" He gestured around, as if the vast desert represented the emptiness of the world she'd have fallen into. This was never about love for them, it was about winning. Jenn's chest tightened, "And for you," she asked, her voice trembling, not sure she wanted to know the answer. What was it for you, Aaron? Aaron's gaze softened, and for the first time in what felt like days, he uncrossed his arms. He leaned forward, elbows resting on his knees, and took a deep breath. It was always real for me. From the moment I saw you, I knew I wasn't just here for the cameras. I was here because I wanted to know you, the real you. Not the person they wanted you to be. Jenn's heart thudded painfully in her chest. She had heard words like this before. Words that seemed sincere, that tugged at her heartstrings, but coming from Aaron, they felt different. Because he wasn't trying to win her over now. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He was just Aaron. But Greg, she began, her voice cracking, I thought he... Aaron's jaw tightened again. Greg's always been good at making people think he's something he's not. It's part of his charm. But I saw it, Jenn. I saw the way he was around the guys when you weren't there. He doesn't care about you the way you thought he did. He never did. The words cut deep, deeper than Jenn expected. She had already felt the sting of Greg's betrayal when he had left the show abruptly, claiming he wasn't ready for a commitment. But hearing Aaron lay it out so plainly, it made her feel foolish. She had fallen for a fantasy, not a man. I'm such an idiot, she muttered, brushing a tear from her cheek. Aaron reached across the fire, his hand hovering for a moment before resting gently on hers. You're not an idiot, Jenn, you just wanted to believe in something good. There's nothing wrong with that. They sat in silence for a while, the fire between them crackling softly. The stars above shimmered in the dark sky, indifferent to the pain below. Jenn felt a weight lift off her shoulders, though the ache in her chest remained. I just wanted it to be real, she said after a long pause. I know, Aaron replied quietly. But sometimes the real thing isn't what we expect. It's not always wrapped up in grand gestures or perfect moments. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's messy. Jenn looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time in what felt like forever. The weight of the show, the pressure to find love in front of millions of viewers, it had clouded her judgment. She had overlooked the one person who had been honest with her from the start. Aaron, I should have listened to you, she whispered. Aaron smiled faintly, the tension in his shoulders easing. Maybe. But now you know. Jenn's mind raced. Could she let go of the past few weeks? Could she start fresh, without the cameras, without the pressure, without the fantasy she'd clung to for so long? Aaron stood up, offering her his hand. Let's get out of here, he said, a hint of a smile tugging at the corner of his lips. Away from all of this, we'll figure it out together. Jenn hesitated for a moment, but then with a deep breath, she took his hand. As they walked away from the fire, away from the remnants of the show that had promised so much but delivered so little, Jenn felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. And this time it wasn't manufactured, it wasn't scripted, it was real. Aaron had warned her. And now, as they ventured into the unknown together, she was finally ready to listen.